Children of porn stars, what was it like growing up? It was not that memorable. I didn't know until I was older that she did old school Playboy type stuff. I was shocked when I learned about it, but since I never really knew as a kid, it didn't affect me all that much. Since everyone always asks, no, there weren't abusive boyfriends all the time. She didn't really date, but one BF was nice and fairly normal. They broke up for the usual incompatibility reasons, not BC she was in porn, she was not a drug addict, she was just struggling as a single mom when my dad died and had to do what she could. No, I'm not embarrassed. Most everyone I tell thinks it's cool and then I have to explain childhood was normal, she was a good mom, she wasn't a drug addict, etc. etc. You get my upvote for actually fitting the always incredibly narrow criteria for being able to answer a post like this. And, for it being normal and wholesome despite the obvious reasons for this question. Glad to hear you and your mom turned out just fine. People expect her to have been some kind of dirty, terrible person, but she just simply wasn't. If there weren't lines of perverts buying the VHSs and magazines, the job wouldn't have been as lucrative as it was. Sure beats a real job at minimum wage where she wouldn't have been able to be as good of a parent tbh. I know a ton of people in sex work that are not drug addicts or terrible people in the least bit, just trying to get by like the rest of us. It kinda blows my mind that there is still so much stigma around it. A friend postponed her PhD in engineering at Penn to be a dominatrix, fetish model, and stripper, as she said, while I'm still young and hot enough. Not all sex industry workers are addicts or nut jobs. My dad was in a nude magazine that circulated in the 90s all around Australia called Picture Magazine. He was no porn star by any means. But he did have a nude picture inside of a magazine. People brought the picture to school, I would show it to me like I haven't seen my dad walk around the house naked. I was less embarrassed when I managed to wrangle this comeback, why you got a naked picture of a guy in your backpack, dude? Nice one, it really is that simple sometimes, isn't it? It really is. I have a son that is gay. When people would ask about it, I'd just respond, "Why are you asking about my kid's sex life? That's creepy." Would shut them up. I'm sorry for the pain I caused you. I thought 100% this would be a throwaway. I admire your dedication. It took me a second to notice the username. Well done. So I went to high school with a kid whose parents were both movie stars. Both his mom and dad have been nude on film before. Full frontals too, lol. Needless to say, there was some teasing that happened at school. It was kinda awkward making conversation with his parents knowing that I've seen both of their crotches. Well, technically I've seen their son's crotch too, since we played on the same football team. Funnily enough, the only crotch in that family that I didn't see was his sister's, which was the only crotch that I actually wanted to see in the first place. Listen, don't give up. You're one crotch away from a full family quad crotch completion. Legendary stuff, man. Exactly, and that's your entry point. If the sister is a helpful citizen who also cares about 100% achievement completion, she should be game. Lana Rhodes' kid is gonna find this thread in 12 years with a Google search. I've seen the inside of your mom's large intestine in 4K high def. I think if someone pulls that line in a schoolyard argument, you just have to drop out and move to another state. Can't come back from that. Oh please, we all know what she did. I've seen the inside of your mom's and it's nowhere near as good looking. Don't give up in a schoolyard argument. Your mom never did. Your mom never did. That's the bit that got me. You made me put my drink down. Not me. My friend's mom had been a nude model for motorcycle pinup magazines and nudie spreads in the 70s or 80s before he was born. I knew this guy for probably 3 years from hanging out at mutual friends' homes before finally going to his place. He never mentioned his mom being a nude model before, but when we walked into the house, his parents were sitting in the living room smoking cigarettes under this giant poster-sized photo of her topless and sprawled out on a motorcycle, looking very seductive and horny. He explained it later and said this is why he rarely has friends over. That kid must have really trusted you if he took you home, knowing the ammunition he was giving you if you ever fell out. I mean, we were both early 20s at that point and partied with the same crowd, so I think he kinda just assumed it'd be cool with it, haha. One of my best friends in HS had a mom who did porn back in the early 90s. Found out after we graduated, but nobody really cared at that point because we all knew her. She had driven most of us home blackout drunk from parties one time or another. She was cool, really chill, but apparently quite strict with her own kids. Died a couple of years ago from breast cancer. Really, EDT, bummed me out when I found out. She was a nice lady. I'm late, but I'll give my personal take as the daughter of a mom who did porn in her early 20s. I didn't even know until I was around 15, so it didn't affect me before that, honestly. My mom moved on to non-porn line of work, so it's not like I grew up near it or really grew up while she was still in the industry or anything like that. Also, she's not one of the extremely popular ones that a ton of people would know, so she most likely wouldn't get recognized on the street, I don't think, haha. My cousin was actually the one who told me, but didn't show me anything, and I confirmed it with my mom later on. Pretty awkward for me to say the least, haha. Also, I'm not embarrassed or ashamed of it really, and I don't have any traumatic stories that relate to this tbh. Not sure what else I should add. Hey look, a completely normal and boring story on this thread. This is probably how a lot of these stories go, but people upvote the crazy stuff more. My sister was in the adult industry, and the last time something like this got asked, my inbox was filled with people telling me to kill myself. Smile. So having a relative in the adult industry ripped our family apart. My mom still cries at the lack of relationship she has with her daughter, and we all live so far apart from each other and hardly talk. Kids at my school would try and trick me to watch the movies, print stills and give them to me. Basic bullying. It wasn't good and it still all hurts at it. Please stop reporting me to Reddit as being a suicide risk. That's really not funny. Mom wasn't a flat-out porn star, but she danced at one of the older strip clubs in Vegas, Glitter Gulch. Most men flirt with her, but because it was only adults seeing her naked or going into a private room for other services, so it never bled over into teasing by children. I just learned at a young age that you could pay your bills with your body, but if you stay in the industry, the more risk to your person is involved physically, mentally, and emotionally. This reminds me of The Killer's lyric, "Her mama was a dancer on, that's all that she knew, cause when you live in the desert it's what pretty girls do." I absolutely love that song, Caution, and it wasn't until this moment that I finally understood what that lyric meant. There was a guy in another town whose parents had made a porno movie, but the plot twist here is that the mom was pregnant at the time. So you could say he was in a porno too. And to top it up, a somewhat known rapper used the sound of the movie, just the start of it, in one of his songs, which have been played at festivals and in the radio. Must have been hard for him. Reminds me that episode from Midnight Diner. Lady does one porn film cause she had a crush on the actor, but ends up marrying an old man, doesn't tell him about working in porn movie. Years later she meets that actor again, almost cheats, but old man dies, leaving her a storage unit. When she checks the storage unit, it's full of DVDs of that one porn movie she starred in. Edit, Season 1 Episode 8 Sautéed Yam of Midnight Diner, Tokyo Stories on Netflix. The lady is a bit ashamed of that movie and even more so terrified that her husband would find out about her salacious past. She goes on until his last moments holding that shame. But when she finds out what was in his storage unit, she realizes that, 1, he knew all along, and 2, that he loved her so dearly anyways, so much so that he, 3, bought all her DVDs so as to suppress their circulation. Wouldn't the producers just run off more copies because it's selling so well? From my memories, it didn't sell well initially, so it was technically out of circulation or something, but the old man wanted to make sure it was out of public sight for his wife, so he went out of his way to find every last copy. I think there was a little ambiguity in the episode whether or not the old man did it out of love or to hide shame, or maybe both, but heavily implied despite her sort of marrying him mostly for circumstance, he really did love her. Midnight Diner is a fantastic show for these gray stories involving not such perfect people that still manages to have a heart at the end. I think it's also a surprising show out of Japan. My older half-brother's dad was a porn star. He loved to open the door naked. He did it at my wedding, in fact. That's about it. He was actually an incredibly amazing man. Good to the bone. Great husband. Good dad. Volunteered. Recycled. A bit quirky but good. I forgot and didn't even realize this post kinda applied to me until I got a ways down in the comments. He loved to open the door naked. He did it at my wedding, in fact. There was a door to your wedding, and he opened it naked? I don't think I understand the context of this tbh. He opened his hotel door naked when he was at my wedding. Not my actual wedding. But the weekend. Phew, I was imagining the church door, to welcome you the bride, as he stands there butt naked with a monster porn dong.